AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's rock!
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
Hey, Will.
Hey, bud.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Musu. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Ross Dellinger will be here in about an hour and 15 minutes from right now. He's been getting a lot of the reaction nationally to the Brenden Sorsby case. Cade Cooper, LSU wide receiver commit, will be here in hour 3 as well. We'll look forward to that conversation, as Cooper is one of the 4 commits that LSU's gotten here in the last 24 hours, which is kind of where I want to pick up. In hour 1, we talked about the 4 commitments LSU landed. KJ Green, Brennan Lacey, Marquez Davis, Cade Cooper, 4 commits for LSU coming off this official visit weekend as LSU's doubled its class from 4 commits to 8. But more so than just talking about the players and how they fit, I think this is a very clear illustration of how Lane Kiffin and Billy Glasscock are building this roster. Now, I've referenced this often, but I want to use this soundbite now to illustrate this further, given what we've seen over the past 2 days, okay? So during spring football, just a few months ago, Lane Kiffin, during one of his press conferences, the question he was asked was actually about the tight ends, which is weird, but it's just an illustration that he's going to say and get whatever message he wants out there. And he was asked about the tight ends because they have a lot of different tight ends, like stylistically. You know, you've got Trey Dez, then you brought in Zach Grace via the portal, and you got J.D. LaFleur hanging around. You understand. Anyway. But what Lane ended up doing was using that as an opportunity to talk about how their staff evaluates roster talent and what they prioritize in this era. Give a listen, then I'm going to come on the backside of this soundbite and explain how it fits in with these 4 commitments they got.
I challenge our guys to make sure we evaluate who they are really, really well. Who is the player as they're coming out of high school? What is their mindset? How competitive are they? You know, because what's going to happen is most likely it's not going to go like they want in the first year. And then get into your analytics of, okay, well, if they're going to, or you're going to pay them, and then they're going to leave after year 1, then what did you really get out of them from a business sense versus the money going somewhere else? So I really tried to find that in tight ends, but in all of our players, okay, who really are they in nowadays setup that it is, so that they are competitive enough that this is the place they want to be at, and are they going to stay through some adversity, which is what they need to play through too as a good player. So obviously character was always part of the evaluation, but I've moved it a lot higher now because of the ability to leave, where before you got the 17-year-old, well, he was really stuck with you for 4 years. So he had to eventually buy Henry, which just was never going to play. Now they really don't have to. They just go somewhere else.
Okay. In that soundbite, Lane Kiffin is saying, we are evaluating character because we're not going to pay someone to come here, sit for a year, and then leave. So really, there's 2 scenarios that Lane Kiffin, Billy Glasscock, their staff look at when they're recruiting high school now. 1, it's easy. It's the elite level guy that is plug and play and is going to be immediate impact. You will pay Lamar Brown because he is the number 1 player in the country, and you are expecting Lamar Brown to step on the field game 1 against Clemson and give you snaps. You will pay Easton Royal because you expect Easton Royal, if he flips from Texas, he is going to step on the field day one and be an impact receiver in this offense. You will not pay Joshua Dobson, not because you don't value corners, but because in 2027, DJ Pickett is going to be back. PJ Woodland could be back. Haven Finney, Aiden Anding, Jakeem Jackson could be back. Your entire cornerback room could be back. So there's not an obvious path to the field in year one. So why pay him? Invest those resources elsewhere. And then if there are players you're not going to pay, what's their character? How competitive are they? Because things probably aren't going to go their way year one. Are they willing to stay, develop, get better? And what you saw in these 4 commitments is a very clear illustration of that. The first commit was KJ Green. 24/7 Sports ranks KJ Green as the number 8 overall prospect in America, regardless of position. He is a 5-star. He's an edge rusher that everybody wanted. You lost Jaden Bryant. 4 days later, you get KJ Green. You're paying him. And I was able to confirm today via people close to the program that LSU is paying high school NIL only to the top guys in this class. All the commitments are not getting high school NIL money. Ahmad Hudson is. KJ Green is. Nobody else is. So it's obvious. You're going to pay KJ Green because even when you look at the edge position for next year, Prince Will Umanmielen is going to be gone. Jordan Ross could come back for his senior year, but everybody else, Damian Shanklin, Dylan Carpenter, Lamar Brown, Trenton Henderson, Gabe Relaford coming off of injury, Kalaj Cobbins, they're all back. The one guy you know for sure is not back, one that you know for certain is not going to be back, is Prince Will Umanmielen because he's out of eligibility. Everybody else could be back, but while you probably lose somebody in the portal, you're going to use a rotation at defensive end. So you can pay a guy, even if he's not a starter, if he's going to give you impactful snaps like you're going to do this year with Lamar Brown. So then look at the other 3 prospects. Brendan Lacey, Marquez Davis, Cade Cooper. Brendan Lacey's a running back from Frisco, Texas. He is not a very highly ranked prospect. When you look at Lacey, 6'1", 187, his ranking, according to the Rivals industry, you're talking about a guy that is a low 3-star prospect. He's number 908 nationally. That don't look like Leonard Fournette or Darius Geis or Clyde Edwards-Helaire or any of the top running backs that LSU's brought through over the years. These premium elite level running backs. Why? Well, Harlan Berry's one of those, and guess what Harlan Berry's going to be playing in 2027? At LSU as a junior. So guess who you're paying? Harlan Berry. By the way, Harlan Berry, Caden Durham, Dylan Jones, Stacey Gage, Racine Guillory, every running back that the 4 you signed in the portal and the 2 you brought back all have eligibility in 2027. So now I'm not saying they're all definitely going to return. Some could hit the portal, but Harlan Berry's going to be back for a 3rd year in his junior season, and you're paying Harlan Berry this year upper 6 figures, high 6 figures. So why would you go invest in a freshman running back that's going to sit? You wouldn't. So you go bring in a 3-star guy that Kevin Smith loves. By the way, Lacey told Rivals, Sam Spiegelman, quote, "They see something in me, and Coach Kevin Smith wants to extract that talent out and dominate. He's big on developing, and I believe he can develop me." Again, there's a buzzword. Develop, develop, develop. You can see what they're doing. They're going after elite level guys that'll be immediate impact guys, and they're going after developmental guys that aren't going to cost them anything and hoping they hit. Marquez Davis, 3-star cornerback, 6'3", 180, 2-sport guy, 1,000 points in basketball, been playing receiver in football. Corey Raymond likes him as a corner. I just told you, all of your scholarship cornerbacks on this year's team in 2026, every single one of them has eligibility to return in 2027. DJ Pickett, Jakeem Jackson, PJ Woodland, Michael Turner, Haven Finney, Aiden Anding, Traylon James, Amari Peterson, Craig Walton, Des Ellis, all of them. They all have eligibility for 2027. That's why you're not going after Josh Dobson, but you'll go sign Marquez Davis, who's a 3-star from Louisiana, who you hope will come, be patient, develop, grow, learn under Corey Raymond, and maybe one day be a really good player. Look at the receiver, Cade Cooper, who committed, the last of this group of 4 that committed. This is another guy who's a low 3-star. Cade Cooper's actually rated as a 4-star. Forgive me. Cade Cooper's rated as a 4-star. And he's got some big-time offers. He's got Auburn and Ohio State and Georgia and Notre Dame, Ole Miss. Like, he's got big offers. Okay? And nationally, he's number 366. If you look at the receiver, he's the 52nd best receiver in the country, Cade Cooper. You got 13 scholarship wide receivers on this year's team. 12 of the 13 have eligibility to return. Remember what Lane Kiffin said during the spring when he was talking about the receivers? Because they went and added 9 portal receivers, but they didn't go add an elite top-level receiver. He told you why.
We try to balance the room more. If you think of it as like, here's your cap number for a room, instead of being really top heavy with 1 and 2 and then not having depth. I think when we've been our best, it's because we've had 4 to 5 to 6 receivers that can all play really well. And so that's what we're striving for here.
4, 5, 6 receivers that can all play well. This isn't rocket science. You can go look at the years Lane Kiffin was at Ole Miss, and it spells out. Last year, they had 6 pass catchers that had over 600 receiving yards. LSU had 1, and Barry and Brown. That was it. Like, he's not going to have Jamar Chase, who's got 1,700 receiving yards. Trey Harris, being a 1,000-yard receiver, is an outlier for Ole Miss under Lane Kiffin. He wants to distribute the ball to 4 to 6 guys that can all be impactful pass catchers. Throw the tight end in that mix as well. So go get a dozen receivers. Hope of those dozen, 4 to 6 emerge. Well, if you can get Easton Royal, who will be an immediate impact game breaker, you'll spend on Easton Royal. But by and large, what you want to do is stockpile that room with talent, with different sizes and skill sets, speed, strength, height, reach, all catch rates, all that stuff, and hope throughout the course of the season 4 to 6 of them emerge. So that's what you're seeing here. Cade Cooper's a guy that probably isn't going to be an impact guy day one on LSU's campus. But he's a guy, when you look at the receivers that they have committed in this class, you've got 3 dudes that have 3 very different sizes and skill sets among the committed receivers for LSU. Braylon Calais is 6'1", 200 pounds. Amari Stevens is 5'10", 165. Cooper's 6'2", 190. So you've got 3 very different receivers, but all guys that are likely coming to campus to sit, watch, learn, grow, develop, and when it's their time, boom, they'll be ready to emerge. So Lane Kiffin has told you how he and Billy Glasscock are building this roster. They're either going to spend on elite-level high school talent that'll play immediately, or they're going to go after developmental guys. What you're not going to see is the high 4-star in a crowded position group that they're going to pay to get here, sit, and then have them leave. You're not going to see Lance Hurd ever again, where they go pay a 5-star, sits for a year at left tackle, then goes and plays 2 years at Tennessee, now is at Kentucky. LSU would rather be Kentucky in that scenario, where the guy's been in college for 3 years, been seasoned by someone else, and now you get him at his best, Jordan Seaton. I'm not saying you can afford to do that with every position across the board, but that's why you have positional value. What positions are you willing to spend the most amount of money, and where are you going to get that player? Is it DJ Pickett from the high school ranks? Is it Jordan Seaton from the transfer portal, or Sam Levitt? That's what they're balancing. But what's clear is they're not going to spend on high school players. They're going to come here and sit as freshmen. If they're going to spend on you out of high school, you got to play immediately. And you're seeing that throughout this evaluation and through the class they're building. All right, it's after further review. We're glad you're with us. But I got a quick break. Come back. Speaking of, man, what a day with all the Sorsby stuff. But this was also a day where Greg Sankey, if you missed it over the weekend, was asked about the possibility that the Super League, right, the SEC and the Big Ten merging into a Super League, and he basically debunked that possibility. We also got an update on the 5 to play 5 rule thing. We'll get to that as we continue. Stay with us. It's AFR.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. You've been injured in an accident. It's not your fault. You know what to do. Do what injured people in our state have done for 3 decades. Go to getgordon.com, getgordon.com, get Gordon and get it done. And remember, Gordon constantly gives back to the communities he serves. One of the awesome things that Gordon's done here in the last year or so is he's opened The Garage. If you're not familiar, The Garage is the podcast studio that Gordon's opened at his office on I-10. Of course, there's the main office on I-10 at College you see from the interstate. If you look directly across the interstate, like next to the Crown Plaza, that Gordon office right there, the quite literal garage of that facility, they converted into a podcast studio. And Gordon offers that to anybody who wants to use it for free. You call over there to the garage and you schedule a time and they'll shoot and edit and publish your podcast for you. So fully video equipped studio. We did AFR there a few months ago. Looking forward to getting back as well. Just another way Gordon gives back to the communities he serves. GetGordon.com, getGordon.com. Get Gordon, get it done. If you're looking for work, look no further than River Parish Contractors. So many reasons to go to work with my friends at River Parish Contractors. Look, first and foremost, overtime. If you want to work overtime, you can work as much overtime as you possibly want at River Parish Contractors. They got it. You can have it. You want to work day shifts or night shifts? You can do that. You want to work night shift when it's cooler? Great. River Parish Contractors. All of PTO, great benefits. All of the work is local as well. So one of the things they love to say at River Parish Contractors is you will be at home with your family every night for dinner. You want to go watch your kids' ball games? You can do that when you work at River Parish Contractors. From Chalmette to Baton Rouge, of course, the shop is right there in Reserve. You can always learn more at rpcontractors.com, rpcontractors.com. Check out the careers page right now at River Parish Contractors, online at rpcontractors.com.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
College football is filled with upsets. The fact that a Lubbock judge ruled that way, I would not call an upset. I think you can find a judge to create an injunction for or against anything in the world. And it didn't surprise me. Gambling is a pretty serious thing. It should be taken really seriously by anybody who's in charge. As you said, the problem is no one is in charge of college football. So maybe there's other chapters to happen. I mean, I never take pleasure in seeing a dude make a big mistake and then have it cost him his career. But there are consequences for these things. And, you know, I would expect at this point, I guess he'll be on the field, but there may be another chapter to happen.
It's part of growing up. That's Chris Fowler on the Rich Eisen show here on Monday. The ruling that really has shaken the foundation of college sports, and I don't use that lightly at all. A judge in Texas has granted Brenden Sorsby an injunction, making him eligible for 2026. We had sports law professor Gabe Feldman with us last hour. Even he, by his own admission, thought there was very little chance that Sorsby would be granted this injunction. Yet, here we are. I mean, I'm not saying anything here today that, I'm not saying anything today that I think any of you would say differently or disagree with. I don't think I'm giving you any hot take or unique point of view. I think we all agree. It's like the one thing you can't do is bet on sports. I mean, we had this conversation for decades about Pete Rose. There's the Black Sox scandal. I mean, you can't do it. I mean, we just saw this go down a couple of years ago with Kayshon Boutte. Like, not only that, but Brenden Sorsby was also sports betting underage. So, Gabe Feldman did a really good job on the show explaining how they got the injunction, and it was effectively, they leaned into his sickness as his addiction to sports betting and how the NCAA should help. So I'm paraphrasing here, but you can check out the interview. Let's make sure that's posted, by the way, like the Feldman interview. That was really, really good. Some clips of that too. So And he also explained why the NCAA can't force Texas Tech to forfeit any of the games. That effectively is part and parcel with the legal ruling, is that you can't then become punitive on the back end. So, which is something a lot of people have asked. It was certainly my consideration, which is, all right, well, you've ruled him ineligible. A court granted him an injunction. What's to stop the NCAA from saying, all right, any game he plays in for Texas Tech, they forfeit. And he basically said, no, you can't do that. It's part of the ruling is that you can't be punitive on the back end of it. So, but the thing I'm most interested in talking to Ross Dellinger about with in hour number 3, Ross will be here in a little less than an hour, right at 50 minutes he'll be here. The reaction today to the Sorsby news has been visceral. I mean, just go to Twitter and not look. I mean, Twitter isn't exactly the most real representation of the opinions of the world. It's not a great reflection of reality. It's normally a playground, but go look, and a very negative one at that, but go look at what the reaction has been today from not just fans. Look at decision makers and athletes and people with large voices and platforms. And Ross Dellinger, in his Yahoo piece today, quoted a Big 12 athletic director who said, quote, "It's total effing BS." Although he said it. I mean, just scroll and look at all the reaction to this, which has been kind of incredible to see the sort of unanimity from all of the pieces around college sports and the people around college sports that so vehemently disagree with this ruling. And the fact that, as some are reporting here, you could have Big 12 schools choose not to play Texas Tech. This was a report from On3. This was a report from Dellinger that a Big 12 athletic director said they've had conversations considering not playing Texas. I'll read it to you. This is the tweet from Dellinger earlier today. Big 12 ADs tell Yahoo Sports they've had serious talks on not playing Texas Tech. One SEC AD said there should be conversations about not playing Tech, quote, in any sports. That was the quote, "It's total effing BS." I mean, you want to force someone's hand? That's a way to do it. Say, we're not playing you. Now, I don't know if they'll ever get to that point. I don't know if you can legally do that as part of your agreements within the conference. You play the schedule that's in front of you. You got to go play. But my goodness, strength in numbers. And if there's ever something that could cause a mutiny of sorts, let a player who bet on games for which he played or was on that team. That's probably the one. All right. It's after further review. You can email us, tweet us, text us, 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Lots of ways that you can get involved in the show if you want to. I pointed out earlier today, I said it on the show, I put it on Twitter earlier, that my point of view has been the university presidents are the ones that really have the power to affect change here. Because there's truthfully one who could say, no, you're not playing. And it's the president of Texas Tech University. Because ultimately there is still a president that runs that school that could say, you were deemed ineligible by the NCAA. We're following NCAA rules. That's great that you got an injunction that would allow you to play. You are still a student at this university, and we're not allowing you to play. Now, you can laugh and guffaw at that all you want, and you're probably not wrong, because I think there's an ice cube chance in hell that would ever happen. But that's the group of people that could actually do this. I just don't think we're ever going to see it. But maybe this is the thing. Maybe this is the one. Maybe this is the ton of bricks that breaks the camel's back. Because you're talking about, not there are subjective parts of these conversations and these injunctions, right? look at the Diego Pavia situation. There is a degree of subjectivity there. I mean, yes, you have 5 to play 4. Well, he was playing JUCO. He wasn't playing NCAA football. How's that different than Matt Moscona going to play baseball and then coming back to play college football? Is it? I don't know. It's open to interpretation. Same with Trinidad Chambliss. He didn't get his medical waiver. Well, is there a scenario where maybe he should have gotten the medical waiver? I mean, I think that's totally bogus. I mean, it's very clear he's trying to get paid, and I don't blame him for trying to get paid. I also think it's bogus. He didn't meet the qualifications for a medical waiver. His career should be over. But a sympathetic judge who's crying in court reading the ruling ultimately let the Ole Miss kid go play another year for Ole Miss because he's a 25-year-old and is going to give him a really good chance to win games. But this is one there is no subjectivity. It's black and white. You bet on sports, you're ineligible. He's ineligible, period. And I think everyone unanimously can rally around this one. Be so fascinated to see where this goes. Because what typically happens, y'all, it's how the news cycle works, right? Everybody gets all worked up over something. You wait a day, 2 days. Remember a few weeks ago when all anybody was talking about was Diana Rossini and the Vrabel? And nothing happened. They laid low, didn't say anything. The story didn't advance. And everybody's moved on. This is one, though, where I don't know how you move on from this one because Sorsby's going to be there. He's going to be going through practice, and then he's going to be playing games, and the storyline's never going to end. So I'm really curious to see, man, if the collective powers that be in the Big 12, all these schools can get together and be like, this is ridiculous. Maybe we're at this point because none of them thought this would actually ever come to pass where he would be granted the injunction. Yet here we are. All right, it's after further review. Hey, we're brought to you by Supper Club. They're closed today. Remember, Supper Club's closed Sunday, Monday. They'll be back open on Tuesday, serving up your favorites, man. And everything is thoughtful. Just from the fact that when you walk in, they don't have white tablecloths because they want you to have an amazing dining experience, but they don't want you to feel awkward, with 7 different types of butter or something like that. When you sit down, they don't bring out 8 types of bread with 7 types of butter. They bring out French fries. Grab them with your hands and get ready for the best dining experience of your life. Even the Brussels sprouts are incredible. They're roasted, flash fried, tossed in Steen's cane syrup and Creole mustard glaze and topped with salted pecans. I'm telling you, I crave the Brussels sprouts at Supper Club. It doesn't matter what you order. Everything you order is going to be the best thing of that thing you ever had. It's Supper Club. Whatever you're celebrating or just because, get by Supper Club. Get your reservations at supperclubbtr.com, supperclubbtr.com, supperclubbtr.com. All right, y'all, it's after further review. Glad you're hanging out with us here. I intended to talk about play the Sankey thing real quick. That's what I was supposed to do in the segment anyway. I just got totally derailed. Here was Greg Sankey. He was asked on Feinbaum about the Super League, SEC and Big Ten merging into a Super League.
What seems to be the tipping point in this discussion is this notion, an erroneous notion. I want to be clear about that. And I shared this with Senator Cruz along with my colleague Tony Petitti. We are not having some conversation about a merger. In fact, Paul, I do not want the SEC network to somehow be confused with the Big Ten network, okay? Just so you and I are clear. I don't think our fans want that. I don't think anybody wants that. I think the debate between the fan bases of the two conferences is outstanding. That's part of the fodder that's there. We have not had a conversation about some kind of merger or Super League.
I believe him that they haven't had a conversation about a merger. I also think it's naive to assume that couldn't potentially happen at some point. All right, it's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Glow Resources, G-L-O, glowresources.com, glowresources.com. Complete employer solutions. It's Glow Resources and glowresources.com. Remember, if you're a business owner, an operations manager, an HR manager, a hiring coordinator, a VP of operations, if you're the person in your business responsible for finding the right people, you need Glow Resources. Skilled blue-collar labor, professional placement division, for any office job, Glow Resources can help you find the people that you're looking for. Remember, the right people equals productivity. And lacking the right people is lost productivity. When you have the right people in the right positions, your business can thrive. So, stop wasting time with turnover. Get it right the first time and let Glow Resources help. You can check them out online to get started. Go see them at their office in Baton Rouge on Perkins Road. GLO, glowresources.com, glowresources.com.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and we do shutters too.
Saints are back on the practice field. A little OTA action this week as that continues. Kaden Elliss is back in New Orleans, and he met with reporters upon his return, which is it's an interesting decision. Listen, if you listen to the show, you know how I feel about it. I'm devastated Demario Davis left. I think it's a terrible decision by New Orleans not to offer him the 2-year contract with the guarantees he wanted. I don't care that he's 37 years old. He has shown no sign of decline. This feels like, to me, a redo of the Darren Sproles decision. And Sean Payton's perspective always was you'd rather get rid of a player a year too soon than a year too late. You can understand that, but Darren Sproles went on to continue his outstanding career in Philadelphia, and the Saints really missed that presence offensively. I look at the decision they made to not retain Demario Davis in a similar light. I don't care what his age is. He takes exceptional care of his body. He has been durable. And my goodness, he had the 2 most productive years of his career the last 2 seasons. There's no sign of decline. He's actually improving, which is incredible to think. But the Saints made the decision they did, and in so doing, brought Kaden Elliss back to New Orleans. He got a player that's almost a decade younger than Demario Davis. And Kaden Elliss talked about that role, having to replace Demario Davis.
It'll be very daunting. He's a special player, special man, special leader. That's not what it is. I'm coming here to be Kaden Elliss and be me. I've got great people around me, great teammates, great coaches, and the leadership will be dispersed throughout the team because Demario's got a special voice, and that's not what I'm here for.
Yeah, you are. Like, that's quite literally why you're there. They let Demario Davis walk, and they signed you to come back and be the starting Mike linebacker. Like, that's literally why you're here. So I'm not saying you got to wear 56 and, wear the Man of God headband. If you did, I'd actually hate you forever if you did that. It'd be blasphemous. But that's literally why you're there. And when you're talking about a guy in Demario Davis who is a 150 tackle a year guy, and Kaden Elliss throughout his career has not been that. As a matter of fact, the best career, the best season he's had defensively is 66 tackles. That was assisted tackles. He's had 1 season with 150 tackles. When he first actually got on the field in New Orleans, these are his tackle by year statistics. 1, 5, 17, 78 in his final year in New Orleans. He goes to Atlanta, 122, 151, 107. So he's become a 100 tackle guy, but still not. And he's played every game, by the way. Played every game his 3 years in Atlanta. So the durability is there. That's for sure. And he's been a 100 tackle guy, but not to the degree Demario Davis has been. But you're talking about a guy who is 30 years old, where Demario's 37. So you're talking about a guy who's about 7 years younger, not quite as productive, but you're hoping he continues to develop into his 30s, kind of like you're with David Edwards as well, just to be clear. Ellis also talked about adapting to Brenden Staley's defense.
We're going. It's really awesome getting to spend time with Peter Sermon and Brenden Staley and all these guys to get to hear how they, skin the cat. There's a lot of ways to do it. And the way they do it is a lot of the same thing I've done, and there's a lot of different things that I haven't done before. It's really cool to learn from them, foremost, and they're special minds, and Brandon's got a really special defense here. Everybody's bought in, everybody's dialed, and I'm excited to, play my part in it.
I will be it's very clear when you look at the Saints defensively and what they're doing is they're choosing to turn the page from an era of core veterans. Obviously, Demario's gone, as we just talked about. Cam Jordan still not under contract and very likely is not going to be back in New Orleans. Tyrann Mathieu is gone. You traded Marshawn Lattimore. Even the young defensive backs you've now seen walk with Alontae Taylor and Paulson Adebo a season ago signed with the Giants. You have turned over a new leaf defensively. It is, and it's strange because we've become so accustomed for a decade and a half now plus to these familiar faces and voices and styles with this organization, and they're all gone by and large. So, it's different, and it's taking some adapting and some getting used to. But really, what I want to see is the Saints defense build upon last year. I mean, New Orleans was 16th in the NFL last year in total defense, right, in yards allowed. So they were 24th. And so I am hopeful that another year with Brandon Staley, the young players that got playing time last year take a step forward. Maybe you see them go from 24th to top half of the NFL. I'm not saying you got to go top 10, but can you be top half? And you couple that with a maturing offense with a lot of weapons, a quarterback getting more experience. Maybe that is the blend that gets the Saints to a 10-win season, which could probably win you that division this year if you can get to 10-7. So while we're all really excited about Tyler Shuck and the offense, justifiably so, not only because it's going to be fun to watch what Shuck can do after a 9-game sample over 17, and now you add Jordan Tyson to the mix, you go get Travis Etienne, you seemingly have fortified your offensive line, adding Edwards, you're going to get McCoy back healthy. I mean, all the things we've talked about a bunch. But, I think we're excited to see that offense elevate. But we've seen really good offenses in New Orleans complemented by terrible defenses, and the teams not be very good. I mean, 2012, they went 7-9. That was the worst defense statistically in the history of the NFL. No defense allowed more yards than that 2012 Saints defense as of that time. So can they play complementary football? Be interesting to see year 1 to year 2 in Brandon Staley's defense, how they might be able to make that step. All right, it's after further review. We're brought to you by Rouse's, official supermarket of the Saints. Man, hope you had a great weekend. Of course, if it's weekdays, weekend, it's always a great day to get by Rouse's. I mentioned we had a pool day with some friends coming over to the house. Man, if you want something to throw on the grill, you want your chips and your dips, you want beers or your RTDs or water, whatever it is, man. You go to Making Groceries, get on by Rouse's. We're coming up on the 4th of July, the 250th anniversary of our country. If you're planning great parties here for the 4th of July and what's coming up, you can always get by Rouse's to make sure that you get everything stocked that you need. Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. America 250 is right around the bend. Make sure you get ready for it over at Rouse's, the official supermarket of the Saints. Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. Rouse's. This feels like home. All right, it's after further review, y'all. We got one segment to go here in hour 2. Muse will do Tigers and the Pros when we come back. Ross Dellinger's here in about 15 minutes from right now, reacting to the Brenden Sorsby situation and giving us a lot of the reaction from around college football and what may actually happen moving forward. As there's some saber-rattling today with, apparently, according to Ross, some Big 12 teams choosing or maybe threatening, discussing not playing Texas Tech this year with Brenden Sorsby if he's eligible. So we'll get that from Dellinger here in about 30 minutes. And also next hour, about 45 minutes, Cade Cooper, LSU's new wide receiver commit. Cade Cooper will be here next hour as well. We're glad you're hanging out. Don't you move. It's AFR.
AFR.
If you're thinking of selling your home, you need to call Darren James. 335-7666, 335-7666, 335-7666, or agent225.com. That's agent225.com. Remember, working with Darren obligates you to nothing. I tell you all the time about Darren and his communication guarantee. If at any point throughout the process you are not thrilled with the level of customer service Darren has provided, boom, fire him. He'll let you out of the contract free and clear. But you know what's amazing? In the more than 2 decades that Darren has been in real estate, not once has anyone ever taken him up on that. And it's not hard to see why when you spend 1 minute talking to Darren. You'll understand. His ability and willingness to go above and beyond for his clients to make sure you get results and have an enjoyable experience selling your home is unmatched. Agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh, we do shutters too.
All right, wrapping up hour number 2. As always, brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Windows, doors, siding, shutters, and shades. Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Always wrap up hour number 2. Let's do it. Muso as Tigers in the Pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
All right, so last week we gave you the report that Kayshon Boutte was seeking a trade from the New England Patriots after they've added a couple wide receivers in the offseason, including A.J. Brown. And in doing so, he also was not present for OTAs. OTAs are in the book. Mandatory minicamp gets underway for the Patriots this week, and Boutte told WBZ in Boston that he will attend the team's mandatory minicamp despite rumors around trade interest and whatnot. So 6th-round pick of New England, really had a nice couple of last seasons, especially in the playoffs there in 2025. He will be at minicamp for the Pats. Gage Jump got start number 3 for the Athletics in Major League Baseball. His second win as well. 6 1/3 shutout ball against the Houston Astros. Walked 3, punched out 3, and only surrendered the 3 hits. Now 2-1 on the year, and the ERA has dropped sub 2.5. Back-to-back wins there for Jump and the A's. Aaron Nola was on the bump Sunday for the Philadelphia Phillies. Bit of a rougher start for him. 4 1/3, 5 earned. Did punch out for it, but ended up with the no decision. The Phillies staged a comeback and ended up getting the win there for Nola. Kevin Gausman was on the bump for the Toronto Blue Jays on Sunday. 5 innings for him. 4 earned. Didn't walk anybody. Punched out 5 in that one. Another no decision. That's 2 in a row now there for Kevin Gausman. But he continues what has been a very, very good season. A 500 record and an ERA at 3.6. Tough go of it for Jaden Hill for the Rockies on Sunday. This is disappointing because he had just been cruising through the 2026 season to this point. Got tagged with the loss in relief and a blown save. Just a third of an inning. 4 hits, 5 earned, and 2 walks. Did not punch out anybody. Also surrendered a home run. The ERA ballooned from about 3 to 5.24, so he'll look for a solid bounce back here in his next outing. Then Alex Bregman and the slumping Cubbies, they fell in extras. Bregman wore the collar. 0 for 5 on Sunday. 1 strikeout, so at least he put the ball in play a little bit. But the average that was creeping up about 270 is now down 243. It's been a rough go of it for Bregman and of course, the Cubs as a whole. That's Tigers and Pros.
Presented by the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020 or WilliamsonEye.com. And I was watching, buddy Michael Hackett does a podcast called Alligator Shoes. If you haven't caught it, you can check it out on YouTube or podcast. And I was fortunate enough to be a guest on it not long ago. And he interviewed Dr. Blake Williamson on the podcast a while back. So I was watching a few, catching up over the weekend. But it was fascinating to listen to Dr. Blake talk about his whole history, a lot of which I didn't know, from his undergraduate degree to going to school in New York and then at Johns Hopkins and spending time internationally in London. And it's just, you can tell how he's been molded to bring all of these incredible, world-class, state-of-the-art, first-of-their-kind procedures to Baton Rouge. And it was a reminder of that. You wouldn't necessarily think, right, wrong, or indifferent, of Baton Rouge as a trendsetter, a place where great technologies start. But when you have people like Dr. Blake, who's born here, loves it here, wants to raise his family here, left, went away, got education, chose to come back here, he's bringing all these amazing things here. So I say it often. If you ever thought of ditching the contacts and glasses forever, there is a refractive procedure, no matter your age or your refractive issue. And Dr. Blake Williamson is just the best. So schedule that consultation and start that journey today. 924-2020, 924-2020, 924-2020, or williamsoni.com. I'm getting a lot of messages. We're talking about Sorsby. I'm getting a lot of messages from people saying, like, why didn't the NCAA just have Texas Tech forfeit games he plays it? Please, would you please get that cut for me? So we had in hour one, Gabe Feldman, sports law professor at Tulane, on the show, and I asked him that question point blank, and he gave an answer. And you do have it? Oh, okay. So we'll probably have to do is after the top of the hour, we'll come back and play it for you. But we'll continue to give you a lot of the reaction from around the sports world today about the Brenden Sorsby situation. I think the fact that this has been a transcendent topic and not something that's only being discussed in college sports circles speaks to the nature of this, because it's not the first time a player's gotten an injunction to play. I mean, this has actually become fairly common, but this one has been the lightning rod because of the nature of the transgression. Betting on sports, which is something that we all know is the quintessential no-no, yet here it is. So we'll knock out a quick break, come back after the top of the hour. We'll talk about how this affects the on-field product in college football, what a lot of the reaction has been. We'll get to all of that as we continue. Ross Dellinger in about 20 minutes. Don't you move. Hour 3 is next.
AFR.
We're brought to you by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com, lmfj.com. Man, you know, the summertime is here. It's when a lot of people get by their those sandy beaches for their vacation. A lot of people like to pop down on bended knee to pop the question while they're at the beach. If that's you and you're thinking of popping the question and you need to get the ring, make sure you go to Lee Michaels. There's a lot of different reasons to go to Lee Michaels. Of course, you're always going to get a beautiful, natural diamond. Okay, you're never going to get a lab-made or man-made diamond. Okay, this isn't a science experiment. What are you really getting? Oh, look how big it is. What are you really getting? At Lee Michaels, you know you're getting a beautiful mined diamond that's inspected. Every diamond's inspected by a family member before it goes in the case. True expression of your love that'll say I love you for generations to come. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry.